If we had two penises, he'd be. Well, I don't know. He'd be.
It's like a third dick.
All right, so we started the show. Let's get going. And we're back. What's up?
Bum, 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 bum.
Let's do this.
Let's.
Hello, everybody.
Oh
Welcome,
my
welcome.
gosh.
How's it going, dude?
Hey, how's it going? I got my hair sticking out everywhere. Just get
Oh,
that out of the way.
hey. This is
I
good,
got
man.
beard. I got beard hair out there. I got hair back here.
Pear hair.
I was trying to tame it, but it just wasn't happening. So we're just gonna go
Mm.
ahead, get that elephant out of the room. My hair's a mess. All right, try to put that on. Did its best. If I keep on rhyming, it's great timing. You know.
Hey, that's what you'll
Hey,
find here at Side by Side.
hey,
Oh,
hey! How's it? Hello, everybody.
hello.
Welcome,
Uh,
welcome to Side by.
side with your
Yeah,
host. With your
we have a
host,
couple dots in there just in case you're wondering.
the
It's
pod
side by dot side.
side.
We
Side by
put
side
that.
movies. Where two
Yeah,
friends they have too much fun talking about two movies. Today's movies are man. We're doing what Apple Plus is what we're calling it.
Apple Plus is our theme, I guess, is the that's our theme for this week. We before we took a little hiatus back at the end of 2022, we were on a little kick of doing some movies where we would do movies that were originals for streaming services, such as Hulu, uh, HBO Max. I think we did Prime as well.
Yeah, we did Prime.
And I feel like we did another one. Did we do Paramount Plus
Netflix.
yet?
I think we did Netflix.
Netflix. Okay. And yeah, so we decided on our last go around that we'd hop back on that train and go with Apple Plus. They have a lot of good content and wanted to see what kind of movies they had. We landed on these two, and I'm really glad we did. These were fantastic movies.
If I haven't been playing Apple Plus enough, Ben made me subscribe to this, and I gotta say, I've been searching in there.
Uh,
They got some. They got
It's
some stuff I want to see,
They do.
and I already.
Severance. By the way, just a plug for Apple Plus right here. Severance. If anybody has not seen Severance, go watch it. It's got Adam Scott in it. He's fantastic. It's a kind of like a dramedy almost,
Okay.
and suspense. It's everything. It's crazy. Highly recommend it.
I did. I watched the because we're also talking about we're gonna be doing something called side flicks, and I saw Finch with Tom Hanks. I
Yeah.
guess well made. I will say the Castaway meets Chappie. You know,
Okay.
it's another one.
I didn't stay on Apple Plus, but I watched a Netflix original series actually, Beef.
Ah, okay.
Uh, and it is an A24 production. Let me put my pinky up whenever I say that.
Hold on, let me just leave the room real quick.
Yes. Why'd you leave the room so I could put the
So
pinky
you
up
could
my
just get all that smug out, get it in there, get the A24.
And let me drink my coffee while I talk about A24 Productions. Marcel the Shell with Shoes. Quite an alliteration and a wonderful movie. No. Beef was actually really good. It was it just it's one of those shows that you like. It's very you could do some introspective work on it. That's I feel like that's most of the A24 movies, but like you can kind of you relate to the characters because they keep on putting themselves in such stupid situations.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh man, like you just make one bad choice after another and you hate to see it, but you love to watch it. It's it was good. Highly recommend. 10 episodes, like 35 minutes a piece.
Yeah, okay.
So
Also, I got Cocaine Bear on the queue, so I'll be watching that one soon. And you could,
I watched that. I'm not gonna lie, I watched that while I was like playing on my phone too.
oh,
So back and forth, back and forth. Um, enjoyed it though.
all
Had a good
right.
cast.
Well, let's talk about the movies we're here to talk about. Everybody, Ben
Right.
and I, just side by side. We go anywhere, we do anything. We'll talk about anything. Also, yeah. So we chose the greatest beer run ever, 2022, rated R, 2 hours
Mm.
6 minutes. Adventure drama war, a man's story of leaving New York in 1967 to bring beer to his childhood buddies in the army while they are fighting in Vietnam. Director Peter Farley, writers Peter Farley, Brian Hayes Curry, and Pete Jones. Stars Zac Efron, Russell Crowe, and Jake Picking. We watched that with Tetris, 2023, rated R, 1 hour and 58 minutes. Biography, drama, history. The story of how one of the world's most popular video games found its way to players around the globe. Businessman Henk Rogers and Tetris inventor Alexey Pazhitnov
You did
join
great.
forces in the USSR,
But
risking it
yeah,
all to bring Tetris to the masses. He's coming back. Director Jonas Bard, writer Noah Pink, and stars Taryn Egerton, Mara Hoff, and Miles Barrow. I did pretty good on that one. I gave myself
yeah,
an 89.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
dude. So
hey, to be fair, like Russian names are really hard to pronounce, so that wasn't too fair to call you the butcher on that one.
yeah, well, I mean, it's also like I'm trying not to say it in Spanish, so like because that's what I speak.
Yeah.
Anyway, so hey, so what do you got playing in the background?
So I have Tetris playing right now. Um, yeah. I what do you got? You got greatest beer run?
While we were setting up, I had Tetris, but then when we started, I put the greatest beer run ever.
Okay.
Only
I
just to
think
cut.
let's keep them. Let's keep them. You got the greatest beer run, and I'll get Tetris, and we'll go back and forth.
Cool. Because, dude, I gotta say, I think you're gonna be surprised with how I end this episode with the scores. But
Mhm.
man, I don't know. What do you think? Where you at on these?
Initial thoughts.
Yes.
Uh, I thoroughly enjoyed these movies. I thought first off, greatest beer run ever. Bill fucking Murray.
But yes, dude, I didn't even know. I was looking at it. I was like,
It
isn't
was
that Bill
very yeah, it
Murray?
was very hard to tell that that was Bill Murray.
It doesn't even sound like him
Um,
either.
no, no, and it was just like it wasn't like he was playing over the top person, like anything like that. I feel like this was a role that was kind of near and dear to him because like he was like grown whenever this stuff was going on.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he I don't know if he was drafted or anything, but I mean I really enjoyed how they kind of they set this movie up where you know Zac Efron. What's just remind me again? What's his name in the movie? It's
Chicky.
Chicky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Chicky was it Chicky Dugan? No, no.
Something like
All the
that, man.
names. Hold on, me. It was the
I'm
name.
telling you, man. Like, and the names are crazy too. It's not like just like normal
Donahue.
names.
Chicky Donahue.
Donahue. Yeah.
Yeah. Rick Dugan
Well,
was Jake Picking.
So, yeah, man. Like they set it up to where it's a vast majority of Americans. Like I feel like that's how people kind of looked at that war as like, oh yeah, we're over there doing good, like, oh, this and that, and oh, we're just getting all these sad stories from the war, blah 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 blah. Because I feel like this was the first, like, obviously in World War II um you had journalists and you had media and stuff like that, but you didn't have it in your home.
Yeah.
It was, you go to the theater and you get that, like, the March of War, kind of like we saw in South Park. That's where where South Park got the idea from, that and everything like
Yeah.
that. So you have that aspect of like, okay, like you see this and it's presented to you in a way that's almost kind of glamorized. You
Yeah.
don't see all the nitty gritty of war, anything like that. And then you have Vietnam, where media is like blown up, and you have televisions in most homes in America. I mean, at that point, let's see. I mean, JFK was already assassinated, right? Was it 67?
He wasn't he. I thought
No,
he
no, no,
was.
no. But the movie was set in 67, right? Because he was. Let's see.
Let's see, dude. I'm actually like
Actually, I think JFK was assassinated in 62.
67. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's when the movie was set, right?
Yeah.
And
1967.
then let's see here. Yeah, so
1963. So
he
November
was.
22nd, 1963, Parkland, Dallas, Texas. So yeah, he
Yeah,
was killed on the before that.
yeah.
Um,
So I mean, that's wild. Like, because like I said, this is like the turn of the media. Like, you really have you have reporters and you have news anchors and stuff like that. Instead of just like on the radio, and instead of just hearing stuff, you get to see everything. It's this was the first war that was like broadcast like
yeah,
that.
you got to feel
And
for it. You got
so,
to taste for it.
exactly. And so that's why everybody's just like, oh, why are you showing all this? Like, this is you're supposed to be patriotic and da 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 and
Yeah,
all this. And I liked how they started you off like that. Like, you go into it and you're like, man, you don't even know. Like, you're thinking to yourself like, I understand where you're coming from. I can totally see
yeah. I
where
mean,
you're at, but it's interesting. And I love how Chicky changes. Like, he sees, like, he gets to go through everything.
yeah. This is a hero's
And
journey, and
it really is.
he's learning through
And
firsthand experience.
well, and it's almost like a like, it's wild to think that in both of these movies, actually, just how much these two guys got away with without, like, imagine doing either one of these things today, like immediately arrested, immediately tracked. And even in Tetris, like, he was being tracked by the KGB.
Well,
He
I'll tell
was
you
being
this:
monitored and
you
stuff
got
like that.
we
It's
got to
just
remember
it's
about
wild.
both these movies is 67 and the 88. So it's
Hmm.
like, but there's way pre-internet. So there's nothing like you have to go by face value. So you have to throw that out your head. Like when you watch this
Hmm.
movie, remember this is a timepiece. So there's none of that. So they're going at
But
face
but
value.
even I mean, not even internet. It's just like how, because I mean, both these guys lie to get into countries that they're not supposed to be into.
Yeah.
Like, um, and there, with Chicky, it was like it was an honest lie almost. Like, he did do work to get over there. It's not like he just was like, he had ulterior motives, but he
Yeah.
actually, but I think it's wild, that he can he can go into a place and people just assume who he is. Like,
Oh
he's
yeah,
just
because
like,
he's wearing the CIA look.
uh-huh. And it just it's amazing. And even Hank, man, like, he went in there and he's just like, yeah, no, I'm gonna get the rights. Like, he's like, no, I've bet everything on this. Like,
The thing,
it's I don't know. I think it's a very I'm glad we picked these two movies because they're very similar
they're
in
very
that
similar.
aspect. Yeah.
Almost both of them are autobiography.
Yeah.
The thing is they're both heroes' journey. They both go through something, and the characters aren't necessarily super powerful. They're just happy to have like grit and go forward. This is actually like they're like Super Mario. Um, they uh, they actually like they're like now these guys the both movies of both characters as they're figuring stuff out, but for themselves or whatnot. Like they're figuring it as it's going because Tetris is totally cancel culture or the way they force things like that. That's like horrible. I've seen that. I've been a part of that stuff, and it's kind of how like even like now like with the people I have to work with sometimes they go and do that. They'll tell you something and then they'll go in another chat room and talk about it and then come back. it's like the same thing they're doing in that movie. I'm like, God damn it, like I can't pick up on this. But it's a form of like it's like a chess game in a way. And then the way they forced that Stein guy to write the contract, and
Mm-hmm.
then it comes down to it, they were all like voided. But I mean, it's like the Tetris. I was like, why is this movie rated R? Like I was like, I can understand the Greatest Beer Ever because there is like a Saving Private Ryan moment where there's an explosion and then you see the guy with no arm, the soldier walking back, and it's like, oh, it's all sad. But I mean, it's a war movie, you know. But Tetris, I was like, why is it rated R? And I think maybe the cussing, but what it is I think they made it and they knocked it up in that that's because of the deception and all that that's involved. Like it's kind of trickery. I don't know. If, like it just to me, I think that's the only reason. I don't think it should be rated R at all. But
Also, a movie can be rated R to gatekeep.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's like if
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
you don't want
if
somebody younger to watch that.
exactly, you don't want somebody like, oh, hey, and I think too, like maybe it's rated R for Russian. I don't know. Um, but no, I think both these movies are very interesting in their own right. Like just how and I like you said, the hero's journey. I mean, persistence and perseverance and all this other stuff, it'll get you places. And if you have a goal, if you have something you're wanting to get done, and these two movies just prove like, hey, you can do it. And obviously, like these are based on true stories. So I'm sure there's other intricacies there. There's other things that happened. There was more real life things, that went down. But I think for the most part, like all in all, these movies, I mean, they tell a pretty intriguing story,
Yeah,
especially Tetris, man. Like that is, I think that's so cool. Just like to think that all this stuff, like, and all this stuff went on behind the scenes to make this happen, and to have this game just blow up the way it did. Like, if this didn't happen, would Tetris be a thing? You
it's
know,
just funny. Out
would
of all the places, it came of Russia. Like
yeah.
because it's a dude, cause just an engineer, man, literally bored, be
Mhm.
like, it's like an Einstein moment, you know.
Yeah,
Where
it,
Einstein,
it,
Einstein
it really
figured out
is.
the theory of relativity just by being bored as a desk clerk, and he was just like,
Hmm.
ugh, let me figure something out. And this is what this guy basically did. But I mean, it's also sad when you start finding out. I mean, the way the children think is scary too, where you think he's gonna throw them off the building, like
Yeah.
oh god, you're just like oh dude, it is like as a father, man. But I'm like I don't really like. It's weird because that whole like communism is horrible. Like that's another thing I think they made it rated R. They don't want you're right gatekeeping. They don't want people to actually truly see what communism looks like.
Hmm.
And imagine just like look, this movie's rated R. You can't watch it, son. Okay, mom, dad. Like
Well,
how
and
it's like
yeah. Oh, and another thing too. I mean, spying on people, or on your people, is not something. Not, it's something America does now too.
yeah
They don't like, privacy is not a thing, and that's wild to think that in 1988, in the Soviet Union, privacy was not a thing. To be able to have that technology to where you can literally control people's lives just by bugging their you know rooms. You can manipulate things to how you want them to go,
but
because of communism and everything, just because of how the government is structured. Like, you can dictate how it goes. What's wild? um so the dad of Mirrorsoft, you
Robert
can
Maxwell,
yes, yes. Can you pull up a picture of that gentleman, like the actor?
the actor. Okay, give
Yeah,
me one sec.
I think his name is Elmas or something like that. Anyway, I
Oh no, what's his name? His name is not that. Where is it? His name was the Maxwell, the older gentleman, right? Kevin was
yeah, yeah.
the son.
Hmm.
This guy's name is. Here we go, full cast. And then we're gonna go down. Let's see. I'll find him real quick. Here we go. No, it's Robert Maxwell. Roger Alam. All right,
Yeah.
you wanna, oh, because
Yes.
he doesn't look anything like.
No. And what's wild, CJ, is like, I was watching this movie, and I've seen him. So first off, he's in V for Vendetta. All right. This is yeah. He's also in Speed Racer, another great movie, that's really underrated. He's also in Game of Thrones. All right. As Illyrio Mopatis. But he looks absolutely nothing like himself in this movie. But there he is as Illyrio in Game of Thrones. Ha ha ha. One more. That's Jordan Mormont. Anyway, there he is. There's Illyrio. We got him for 2 episodes and then nothing. Anyway, I knew him just by the voice alone. I was like, that sounds like the guy from V for Vendetta. Like, what? But he doesn't look like him. There's no way. And so I had to go on IMDb and check who was playing Robert Maxwell because, I mean, it was wild. I was like, but I knew him just from the voice alone. Like, he has such a commanding voice and a very, like, it's a voice that could get lost in the crowd, but a very, what's the word I'm trying to come up with? I don't know. Oh, there he is in Speed Racer. Yeah. Uh, I don't know.
Yeah, dude, it's
But
crazy,
his
right?
voice,
Like,
that's what got me. Was like
no,
I don't know if they have a picture
oh,
of
young
him
version of him.
from I don't know if they have a picture of him
Nah,
from Tetris.
they
But
don't. Let me look it up real quick.
yeah.
I'll look it up real quick. Yeah, because he well, I want to see how the real one looks. How Robert
No, I
Maxwell
mean,
looks.
he looks like they showed him at the end of the movie. He looked
Oh,
like they did a great
don't
job.
look
And
at
even
these.
Kevin looked
Oh
like
God, I just that kind of spoiled all. I hate
oh, a
those
little
kids,
shit,
man.
dude.
Yeah, little
Oh
shit.
man.
Wow, look at
It's
this, Robert
see?
Maxwell.
And they nailed that. Like, and what's crazy is like he was.
That's pretty good, huh? That's pretty close.
Why did Jeffrey Epstein come up next to him?
Oh God, you know those freaking people,
Is
money people.
that's her dad,
Who's that? I can't. I'm
Ghislaine
gonna.
Maxwell?
I guess.
What?
Who's she from? What do I know her from?
She's Epstein's handler. Like she was
Ah, so
what,
this is what are we uncovering here, Ben? And it's like it's all
bro?
obvious. I just don't know. Yeah, look, it's like
See, that's why I was wondering why Epstein came up whenever. What the hell?
look at me. I'm on a boat. Look, I do so
I'm on a
well.
boat
I
going to
got a
my other
boat.
boat.
You gotta come on my boat if you're gonna me have a good time. You know, that's what we're saying. Look
That's
at my boat.
wild.
I have to take a picture with a boat and with a boat in the background because you know what? I love boats.
So
Um,
here's the deeper
yeah, it
question.
looks
Do you
pretty
think
good.
we would have gotten this movie if Epstein hadn't blown up? Because I feel like this is like, I
Hmm.
mean, don't get me wrong, like, yeah, I'm sure this story was, an interesting story to begin with, but you tied that Ghislaine Maxwell's father's attached to this. I guess she has a brother, Kevin.
Interesting.
Like would that did this kind of like spur like, oh, we're looking back through family history. Oh, look at this crazy story. Look,
Yeah.
their family company totally went under. And did you? I mean, at the end of Tetris, you saw that the dad died
Yeah.
mysteriously, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he's a big, big dude, and he wasn't young, but still.
You know, even
Uh,
like that, like what I got from just the way the cookie crumbles at the end of that story. Remember, spoilers alert, everybody. If you're watching this, or you've seen the movie, or you
spoilers.
don't mind getting the movie spoiled, but just remember at the end when it all comes apart, that even like dudes with power have to try to do power moves, and you know it's they had what's his name come in. Oh my god, this kid's having a Jurassic Park attack. What was his name? The prime minister of the USSR,
Oh, Gorbachev.
Gorbachev. Yeah, he makes that little cameo,
Hmm.
and I gotta say, man, like they did pretty good with him too. It's not like the
Yeah.
best, but it looks pretty good. But I
No.
want to say, I
Well,
want to
they
see
got
like
Dick Cheney to play him, right?
it looks like pretty much, man. I saw the spot and I realized. So when we were talking about before we got on the air, that's kind of one of the first things of news I remember as a child was the spot in his head, because
Yeah.
he was also in a textbook when I was reading it, and he was in the book, and then they talked about the history book, and then would see him on the news, and also I have an uncle, he passed away in 2004, but his name was Rudy, and he looked a lot like him. And so I'd always see, like, look at my Theo and be like, "Hey, you look like Gorbachev." But everybody always said that he looked like him.
Whenever you say news, like you're talking like whenever you saw him on Saturday Night Live, I'm sure they made fun of him on there.
I know. I mean, like the news. Like, I mean, you know what?
Tear down that
SNL,
wall.
SNL. I didn't get into SNL until after like Chevy Chase movies. Like, I watched a lot of Chevy Chase movies, and then I saw him on SNL, and then it's all Bill Murray and all, and then I started like sticking with it. But it was
So
like Sandler and Rob Schneider and David Spade,
Will
Chris
Ferrell,
Farley.
I think that's whenever I started coming in on SNL. Whenever him and Molly Shannon were doing the cheerleader routine, those are my first kind of like vivid memories of SNL. Is going to be Will Ferrell and Molly Shannon as the, I think, what, the Trojans or the Spartans or something like that.
Oh yeah, hot tacos, burrito. What's that in your speedo? You know, like because my wait,
Yeah.
what was your first introduction to Will Ferrell? Because he was Night at the Roxbury, but I didn't know that was him. So it wasn't until I saw, um, when did he stick out to me? He's one of those
When
cameo
did he start
roles.
sticking out to me?
Yeah, yeah.
Zoolander.
There you go. Yeah, I think so.
That's
No, but
that's when he started sticking out, and then what was crazy is he wasn't like really prominent, or I wouldn't even say like, I guess the best way to say it is like mainstream until Talladega Nights 2006 for me. I think that was the first one where he had really kind of blown up, and it was like his own movie kind of thing, if I'm thinking correctly. Yeah, because
let
I
me
think
see.
Talladega Nights was like 2006, 2007. Then Step Brothers was after that. I know he was in Jay and Silent Bob, but Strikes Back. But that
Yeah,
was
see,
like
but he,
that was almost like an Austin Powers role, but he was like kind of a supporting cast because he was throughout the whole movie.
yeah, no,
Um,
you're right. Because he didn't even stick out to me in Jane Silent Bob. Like I didn't, I saw that.
no, 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 no. And like I said, it really wasn't until he did his own movies that I was just like, okay, like yeah, he's a powerhouse. But Zoolander is the first time Mugatu. But that's the crazy thing is like he doesn't even look like Will Ferrell. In that, like he does, but he doesn't, just because of that crazy hairdo.
Yeah.
Uh,
Stop taking
but
ecstasy pills.
yeah, but yeah, no, man,
I
it's
seriously
it's
don't
kind
like
of
how
wild.
I don't like how IMDb has their new thing set up, man. This is dumb.
But Austin Powers is another one too.
Yeah. No, but I'm trying to figure out his career because I saw Night at the Roxbury at the theater, and I was like, okay, cool, but he didn't stick out to me as
Well,
like
Eva
a
Mendes is in that as well. Like, would you say that that's one of
in
her?
in Night at the Roxbury.
Yeah,
Eva Mendes.
yeah.
Which character is she?
She's she's like a date at the wedding or something like that. Or is she getting, maybe she's like a bridesmaid or something
And
of
Night at
one
the
of them.
Roxbury.
Yeah, I'm
Eva,
pretty sure I'm thinking of,
mm,
I hope I'm doing the right.
I, I don't know, man. I don't think she's in
Yeah,
there.
bro. Oh, 100% she's in Night of the Roxbury.
All right, we're gonna do it. Let me check it out. Well, but here we go. So Elf
What do
is
you
in
want to
2000.
bet?
Oh, we're doing a bet. Oh God, dude, we haven't even
What do you
done the
want to
old bets.
bet?
We'll bet something. Okay, hold on. Here we go. So Elf is 2003. That's when the Will
Oh,
Ferrell
Elf.
mania.
Okay.
That's when the
Yeah.
Will Ferrell mania started. So I remember. Oh, Superstar. Okay, so that's when he started sticking out with me. Yeah, because
Oh,
I saw it.
See, that's what's wild, man. Is I totally forget that
Yeah.
he
So
was in that.
so check this out. This is when he started sticking out to me because it was Superstar and then The Ladies Man and then Zoolander. And it's okay. Look, he does Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back before, between Ladies Man and Zoolander. But I remember he started catching wave and Zoolander. And then The Elf came out and that's when he freaking hit
Yeah.
the roof. But then he did stuff like Wedding Crashers, little cameos like that. But the thing is, Austin, because I had to go back and watch Austin Powers, and I remember being like, "Oh my God, that's Will Ferrell. He was that dude." And the whole time, like, "Oh, I can't feel my legs," or he's like, "Why would you shoot me in the arm?" You know, like he can't die. But then he does have a lot of little like cameos. But let's bet
That's
something. All right, let's see.
well, but what's
Mendes.
wild is like Night at the Roxbury is like his movie. Like it's him and Chris Kattan.
Okay, I'm not
Like,
looking it up yet. We gotta. I know you're right. You're right. I didn't.
what do you want to bet?
Uh,
What do you want to lose at? What do you feel
I
like
think.
losing?
I mean, I'm trying to think. If she's a bridesmaid, isn't she?
No. You let's bet.
All right, I'll lose
Let's
this
bet.
one. I'll lose this one. I think she is a bridesmaid, but she doesn't stick out. I don't think she sticks out at all. But I'm talking
No, she
about.
doesn't. But
But she
I
doesn't. I don't even
vividly
think she has a
remember.
line, does she? You can't. You
Well,
can't. You can't get.
maybe that's what we can bet on.
What
Does
she
she
has
have
a
a
line or
line in
not?
it?
Okay, because yeah,
I
because I
think
don't
she
think
has.
she's like an
I
extra.
think she. No, I think she does have a line.
All right, all right, all right, all right.
I
Let's
think. I
bet.
think she
You
has a
if the
line
it,
in
this
Night of the Roxbury. She's not
I think
just a.
I
She's
know
not just
I
an
see her in the
extra.
purple dress. I remember the purple dress. For some
Mhm.
reason that sticks out. All right, let's do this. If I lose, then let's just. I want to do the cameo call, so I have to make a cameo video for you. And if you lose, you have to make a cameo video for me.
Okay.
All right, all right. So let
All
me
right,
look
deal.
real quick. Night at Roxbury. And then we're gonna see Eva Mendes. That's all I'm gonna do. And it popped up really easy. And I was right. I was right. The purple dress. All right, she is in this.
Oh, okay. All right.
She is
Yeah.
in this with Richard Grieco. Okay, but let me take this to YouTube, and let's see if we can actually. Because even look, it even says it in here in the YouTube video. Before they were stars, Eva Mendes and Night at the Roxbury. God, you got me on this one. Oh, dude, the actor that plays the priest is Glenn from Superstore. I mean, look at okay. Okay, I think I can show this to us. Let's see, because this is just screen
Oh,
sharing.
by the way, you said Superstore. It reminded me of Super Troopers. I got about half. Oh, see, I won.
No, she's in it, but does she have a line?
They say if you set something free and it comes back, you should love it forever. And like one of your
Oh
silk
God,
plants,
damn it.
I know our lives together will be great.
Okay, nothing.
Just like
she
when
didn't
we
say
saw
that.
David
She
Copperfield
said,
on
"Oh,"
our
in
first
the
date.
That doesn't
Love
count. She gotta have a
and
line. The sound effect doesn't count. Okay, okay, here she is
Oh,
again.
oh.
Are they focusing on her? She's hot. Oh God.
Yeah.
Together in holy
Oh.
matrimony.
That's why they're
Let
focusing
them
on her.
speak now or forever hold their peace.
What's
What's
up?
up? She gets hit
From out
on.
of town?
He hits on her.
Don't hit on the bridesmaid. It's your wedding.
Want to wait until after the ceremony, please?
Right.
They're forcing them to get married. We're gonna have the
Stephen,
first plant.
Do you promise to love Emily in sickness and health for as long as you both shall live?
My dad already paid the caterer.
He's trying to find excuses to get out. All right, so Ben,
Emily, do you promise to love Steve?
Is this the only scene that she's in though?
maybe she's in more. We'll find out. But for us, for right now, for
Steven,
time's sake,
repeat after me.
I'll go back to the beginning. Just no lines, dude. So I think I won this one.
Let's see here. Let's.
If you can find
We can
something on your off time, but as of as of now, I'm winning. She didn't say. She didn't line.
The first one. Does Eva Mendes speak Spanish?
All right, we'll get back to the movies. But if you can find where you're, as I talk, because you have to do your extensive research on the while you're on the clock. All right, how do we even get to Will Ferrell? See, it's a side by side. We just go with it. But even like that with Tetris. Oh, because we're talking about Robert Maxwell, actor.
Yeah.
Always sticks out. But what was I gonna say? Let's talk about the main character, because you were talking to, I didn't Arrogant, what's his name?
Taron Egerton.
Taron, yeah, because so he's I substitute him with Tom Holland, and I feel like I would watch more of Taron, but I watched Tom Holland instead.
Well, that's because Tom Holland is Spider-Man. If
That's
Taron was
what-
Spider-Man, you'd watch.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter who the but that's not my fault. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. You know what I'm saying? Because then I'd be watching basically the same guy twice. But no, I'm not. Now I'm starting to, because I have seen the Kingsman, so I'm like, well, I want to watch the other two, the three ones, you know. Or are they number four?
Yeah. No. There's only three. But he's not in the third one. Third one's a prequel with Ray Fiennes. And actually, The Kingsman it was a solid movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, not bad. I liked it. It's entertaining, very entertaining.
Yeah, you watched the newest one, right? The third one.
No, I haven't seen them. I haven't seen
No.
the King. I've only seen the first one.
You've only seen the first one. Yeah. So Kingsman is the first one with Taron Egerton, and then you have Kingsman Golden Circle, I think, with Julianne Moore, and then the third one it goes back to like World War One, and it's called The King's Man, and so it's like the start of it. So yeah, man, it's solid, and it's just showing you how it came to be.
check this out, dude. You know, okay, so I'm going back to the greatest beer run. It's a sad, tragic part. Man, for spoilers, the Oklahoma character. Like,
Yeah,
see, so
man.
that's pretty cool. For me, I related to that as in the sense being from the border and being able to go like back and forth, and me being kind of like a translator at times or an interpreter for some people because I'm like, okay, you guys are lost. What do you want? Why y'all walking over here? And they're like, oh, he speaks clear English. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm from here, but I'm from over there too, so I understand you shouldn't be over here, you know.
Hmm.
And they'd be like, oh, whatever. I'm like, all right, I warned you. But it was always like what they had in common was the fact that the movie Oklahoma. So he'd seen it,
Hmm.
and so he had seen. They both had seen it. So there's a media there that they have in common, and to the point where he's like, I want to go visit you, which tragically doesn't happen. But that's so like amazing that movies are able to like a media or something like a book or it can relate can bring people together even though they're
Hmm.
miles apart. And he's planning to leave Vietnam to go to New York, and he says, oh, you can come visit me. And it's just
It's like
like
100%. Here's my address. Like I love that Zac Efron was like, yeah, like
really,
the
yeah.
yeah, and well, and what was so
No, no,
cool
no. I'm sorry.
about
How he goes? Really? You
yeah,
wanna?
he's like, really, you really want to come? Which is wild because he did the exact same thing to come to Vietnam. You know,
Yeah.
it was like, and the progression of that movie too is like the greatest beer run ever. I mean, it takes you, it slowly brings you in. It's not like a Zac Efron gets over there and he's immediately getting shot at.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad they didn't do that because like his perception of what's going on slowly changes. It's not like an immediate like, oh, okay, this is like his whenever he first gets to Vietnam, like it's like he's like, okay, like yeah, of course there's war going on here. Like it's like there's nothing to him, you know? It was like, okay, yeah, like he was just he was so
Oblivious a little
ignorant
bit.
about what was going on,
Yeah.
and the deeper he gets in, the more he learns. And it's wild. And I think it's even crazier that the CIA was trying to kill him, you
That's messed
know?
up too. And that's what it's kind of crazy when they talk about the war in Vietnam. How it's like our own men are coming up, or going after you.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's that part.
Well,
That response he gives that other guy. I work for the same people you work for. Like I don't know what I would have said. And they go looking for him, and then that centipede or whatever. I like, dude. I mean, he's just walking, dude. That's scary. But he knows he has to
yeah.
walk. He knows he has to do that. And even when he goes, no way, I'm not going this way. And it's like they know him. Chicky, is that you? He's like, Looney. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's me. And then they like take him back. All right, but it's just so crazy how they like. Oh, I don't know. I was like, is this guy? Is everybody ranked? Because everybody he knows, like they could say something. But that
Hmm.
part where he even goes to the first time he really gets into the shit of it, where he goes visits. I think it's not Reynolds. Reynolds doesn't make it. I think it is Dugan, where he makes him. We got somebody here for you. You gotta come now.
Yeah.
He's like, really? That would have pissed me off so much if I was doing something like that and I make it and it's somebody from my hometown being like, damn. I'd be like, you. Like I would be so
Yeah.
mad.
Oh, he was pissed, dude. Like he was like, "Are you kidding me right now? Almost
And he's
just
hiding
died."
too, dude. He's
And
hiding.
then,
Like
yeah, and then I love how he's like, "Nope, you got to take him with him. take him with you." Like what?
well, I
And
like I
he's
like
just like he's fine with it. He's like Chicky is probably the most nonchalant person in a war. Like until he actually sees war, he is just like
when he
dangerously
when
oblivious to it.
I think you're right about something. Let me add to this. I think it's when he notices the Americans do something like messed up is when it messes with him because he's okay with all the shooting, all the other stuff, but as soon as he starts noticing, like even that first one, what is he doing in here? And he's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Oh, he thinks he's CIA." Like even when he realizes, like, I shouldn't, like he shouldn't even got that far. But it's
Yeah.
also that should have been the end of it right there. But the fact that he's like able to kind of not like manipulate or kind of just disguise himself or camouflage, blends in, but
Hmm.
by sticking out, which is insane. Like he freaking like it's that you're right. Like maybe nowadays because of speed, time, internet, be able to find out, but there's still people that are able to do stuff like this. Stuff always happens like this. I mean,
Oh
when you
yeah.
find out
I
about
mean, if you're slick enough, you could definitely pull something like this off. But just the
no, I don't think you have to be slick. I mean, I just think I don't think you have to even be smooth. I think it could happen by accident too, like somebody just like showing up and giving the wrong paperwork, or because it's all human error. That's what I'm saying. Like you don't have to be like a con man. You could just be like cheeky, and just be told what you're told, and somebody you go somewhere else. They're like, I don't want to deal with this person. There's a lot of
I
that.
I
It's like
think like
micromanaging.
I think maybe like in a corporation or something, but in another country, well,
Well,
I
no, no,
mean,
no.
I guess I'm
Think
sorry.
about it.
Maybe I'm
Think Oh, you just
Go
said it
for
right
it.
there. Just think about it. You said it right now. Corporation. Tetris is about corporation. Army. The Greatest Beer Run's about war and the army. They have a systematic thing set up. So we're seeing the blueprints of how these things are run. You know. So
Mhm.
look how Chicky gets to base. It's like it's just someone else is like God, someone above me, because it is like it's like management. There's like a bunch of micromanaging involved in the army. And it's like
Yeah.
God, then also when you hear like we have more like friendly fire deaths than than that we kill ourselves. It's like, oh, because we were negligence or just not paying attention. Like it sucks, man. You hate hearing that, but they don't want to share any of that. They want to glorify
Mm.
the war. Like if, I mean, it's also like, why are we doing this, good or bad? Like what's going on? Like they really tried to do the, I don't know if like the conspiracy thing. I don't get in trouble with the 9/11 thing when people are always like it was inside. When people started saying that, I was kind of like, okay. But then like you start looking over the years and all the politics, all the moves, and you're like, okay, this is starting to be like, it gets a little watery, murky.
Well, it was I don't know. We'll see it, man. Because that was like I said, I don't want to get too far down conspiracy road.
Yeah, it would
But
totally would ruin this show.
yeah, but NWO, bro, New World Order. It's not a lie. I don't believe. But
Rusty Shackelford. I'm gonna go get on my two-way radio and get on the company.
bro, if Public Enemy was talking about it and he got game, there's something to it. All
It's
right.
also yeah, dude. I love He Got Game. By the way, great shout out. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Ray Allen.
The song.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the movie,
No,
man. I was like,
movie's
well, that's
good.
true. That's true. No, the movie's amazing because it's like like talking about like that movie came out in 1999. I was a freshman, and it came out. I believe like
Class
right
of
before.
'99.
Yeah, I think it came out in the fall because I think it was like right before basketball season, and I remember seeing that jump shot of Ray Allen. I mean, I didn't see him play in college. I didn't really watch the UConn games, and he did win a champ. He won a national champion, so he won this movie, and I thought he was fake. I didn't think he was real, and I saw him playing for the Bucks, and I was like, oh my God, that's Jesus Shuttleworth. Like, and I was like Ray Allen, so I had to like, oh God, because I got my jump shot from Ray Allen and Allen Houston. They both have the name Allen, and but I like the way they shoot, so I like mimic them, and just modified it to my shot, and it's lethal. It's a lethal shot. But what I was gonna say is like watching like the He Got Game and going seeing basketball and the like even like that, like they were gonna release the dad if he gets the kid to sign to the college intent that they have. It's like it's so messed up. Like, you know what I mean? Like abusing power. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like they found out, oh, we have the kids dad here that he's maybe has an influence on him. Let's let him out and see what he can do. And even like that, like that's gotta suck. As like as the character, as a kid, you're growing up and you got to deal with that. And then you're like, why is this guy trying to get back into my life? And then as you find out, it's because he's trying to be like a just to get out of free time. Or Mila Jovovich in that one too. She plays the prostitute, and she does a good role in that one.
I
Outside of
I'm gonna be completely. I've never seen it.
oh, you gotta watch it, dude. Spike
I
Lee
will.
joint, bro. It's a yeah. The movie is really good, dude. You gotta watch it. It's also well creative. Like it's well. I want to say for coming of times, like it's really really nice. Um, it's one of those like just a generational movie as well. But I mean like when you see something like that, I want to I want to rewatch these two movies only because I was learning from them a lot as a filmmaker. But like, dude, the greatest beer run ever. It's shot very like like nice war pace. Like it's not super. It's not like a like heavy war. It's like very very poetic.
It doesn't feel like it's a war movie, but it doesn't feel like a war movie. It doesn't feel like Full Metal Jacket. It doesn't feel like um,
Yeah, that's
Saving
what you,
Private Ryan or anything like that. It has more of a lightness to it. It's not like a nitty gritty war movie, but it has enough moments of the nitty grittiness to make you be like, oh, it kind of brings you out of it. Like whenever they're in the helicopter, he's like, I want the information. He's just like, give him the information, and he just drops him. And
that
that's
that part, man, that broke my heart, dude. That part, that I was like, dude, this like it's
because
just like
because Chicky's under the impression, as most people are, that like they just want information. They're not trying. They don't want to harm these people. This is our government, and I think Vietnam was probably, well, it may, I don't know about the Korean War, but I mean Vietnam for sure was the first time. Well, was you had alphabet letters, coming in, and doing shit too. It wasn't just, you know, it wasn't just war, you know, it was information war. It was all this other stuff, you know? And so that was, I think that's another distinction between World War
What?
II and Vietnam, you know, like I think Chicky just learns like, hey, you know, uh, I don't know, man, because he just learns about war, and I think that's so crazy too that even today, I mean, people not idealize, but just look fondly on World War II. Um, you know, it's more of like that nostalgia, like they have the high school goggles on for World War II, but with Vietnam, oh no, it's like in your face, and it may just because you have more of that. Of the journalism, more of the
Yeah,
coverage of it, you know?
there's more. Yeah, there's more archive stuff.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But yeah, because to me, like World War One is like super old.
Yeah.
World War Two is like not that old, but it's like I know World War One, and then like dude, honestly, I feel like an idiot, man, because like I need to catch up on my history. How long was the Vietnam War? Do you know?
I mean, it lasted until the 70s, I know. I think.
Dude, 1955 to 1975. That's some bullshit. 20 years.
The Vietnam War?
Yeah, it says here on
When were
Wikipedia.
we That's crazy.
Oh, maybe I don't know when we got involved. Maybe that we weren't involved the whole time, but that war was. It says here. I just looked up Google. It says Vietnam War dates November 1st, 1955 to April 30th, 1975.
Yeah.
Now, like this is man. If it really, I mean, it says it's a. Where does it say? Yeah, locations: South Vietnam, North Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, South China Sea, and Gulf of Thailand. So was this a war that was going on, and then we put our asses in it, or did we
Yeah, I
start?
mean, it had to have been because like we started fighting communism as soon as we were done with World War II. I mean, we were fighting it with Korea. Yeah, the Korean War right after World War
Like, I
II.
don't know. I don't even know anything about the Korean War. Like
See,
it says,
neither do I. Hardly anything.
yeah.
But I mean, it's just
So if anybody was not right on this on this thing, I'm gonna mess up. So the Korean War was first, 1950 to 1953,
mhm,
and then it was Vietnam War.
yeah.
Korean War was fought between North Korea and South Korea from 1950 to 1953. The war began on 25th June 1950 when North Korea invaded South Korea following clashes along the border and rebellions in South Korea. Oh, so they brought heat. So, and then the Vietnam War says, let's go back to just the Vietnam part. It says, the Vietnam War was a conflict in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia from 1 November 1955 to the fall of Saigon on 30 April 1975. It was the second of the Indo-China Wars and was officially fought between North Vietnam and South Vietnam. So there's another North versus South. So these are like civil wars, huh?
Yeah. It's
And
just
we're
civil wars that
and why are we getting involved in this shit?
because we don't want communism to spread. We want democracy to spread. We are coming off of World War II, and this kind of get back on the conspiracy thing, not even, but I mean, after World War II, you had Eisenhower coming out talking about like we're about to have the military industrial complex. Like be prepared, be aware of what's going on because that's when we were really after World War II. That's when our military strength really beefed up. So we were over there. We were trying to
Look at this shit.
mitigate the spread of communism.
All right, so check
We
this
didn't
out.
we didn't want that taken over.
World War II. This is all Wikipedia, everybody. World War II, or the Second World War, often abbreviated as WW2 or WW Roman numeral 2, whatever, was a global conflict that lasted from 1939 to 1945. The vast majority of the world's countries, including all of the great powers, fought as a part of two opposing military alliances, the Allies and the Axis. So this is from the date is September 1st, 1939 to 1945, September 2nd. So it was 6 years of war.
Mhm.
Okay,
And I think we were only there from 42 to 45.
so these battles were going on, and then so I'm gonna do this real quick. Let's do that because I also want to see when technology kicks in on this. World War One, or the First World War, often abbreviated as WW1, was one of the deadliest global conflicts in history. It was fought between two coalitions, the Allies and the Central Powers. Fighting occurred throughout Europe, the Middle East, Africa, the Pacific, and parts of Asia. July 28th, 1914 through November 11th, 1918. So 4 years. Dude, war, man. Like, I mean, I'm the only thing is because this is what I'm talking about. We're in the future. I mean, I think guns are very primitive at this point. I think it was what's a comedian? Was it Chris Rock who said like we should just everybody can have as many guns you want, but bullets should be expensive. So he can be like, I'm gonna shoot you. Wait till I get a part-time job. You're dead. It's like because it's like, but the thing I'm talking about, joking around about is because like we don't really need guns. Like we should be doing battle bots. We should be doing futuristic wars, drone. Or that. Maybe we could do that, but with no people, no lives being taken. Like zero
you're talking about having artificial intelligence fight
do the fight.
war for
Yes,
you.
yes. And then,
Well, I mean,
and then Skynet, but
No. I was thinking more of well, it's not really artificial intelligence, but we did have. I mean, Tetris is kind of a war movie as well. I mean, we had the Cold War going on, where you didn't have any hot war like Vietnam or anything. Where
a Cold War is just like a shit talking war, just talking mess.
I mean, essentially, well, just like espionage and just like behind the scenes. I mean, and obviously, there's going to be cold parts to any war because you have that. I mean, look at the CIA in Greatest Beer Run Ever. That's I would call that part like doing that action. That is a Cold War kind of thing.
Can I talk about the Cold War real quick? Can I give you, because this is a history. This is definitely, I didn't realize it was going to be this history, but check it out. Cold War, March 12, 1947 through December 26, 1991. Wow. Mm-hmm. The Cold War was a period of geopolitical tension between the United States and the Soviet Union and their respective allies, the Western Bloc and the Eastern Bloc. West Coast, East Side, yeah. Wow, this was a battle for a very long time. There were a lot of mess talking going on. Combatants, United States, Soviet Union.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Cold War. I mean, that was just the fight against communism. That was the war against communism. Was what that was. So essentially, that is what the Cold War is.
Okay, let's just keep going with this. What's Desert Storm?
Because Russia was an ally in World War II.
We were friends with them.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think they were Axis. They were allies. Yeah.
So now check this out. The Gulf War was 1990-1991. Armed campaign waged by a 39-country military coalition in response to the Iraq invasion of Kuwait.
Yeah. So and you know how Osama bin Laden got all his stuff going, right? Is we were funding him to fight Soviets in the 80s. And then, but then we can turn him terrorist as soon as and same with Saddam Hussein. It's very interesting looking back and connecting dots. Whenever you're in it, it's very hard to see what's going on. But once you can kind of get some binocular views and kind of look back, it's scary and interesting.
But put this, dude, that even goes back to our last episode, Hot Shots Part 2. Like, they're making fun of the political things, but I mean, Saddam Hussein's character is in it. He's in both movies, remember? And it's like, it's keeping him relevant to be like, hey, remember this guy existed, like, it took me forever to figure out who Che Guevara is, and then it's like, you start learning about these other guys, these other, political people, and, cause he's not, I'm Hispanic, but that's like South American. I'm North American. And, like trying to be.
But you're still American.
American. It is funny how we put them. We're that's America down there. That's just a little South. They're a little different. We're like you guys. I never forget that because I'm from the country myself, and I grew up in that shit. But what do you call it? How they go? Oh man, it's a bunch of rednecks. Oh, we ain't rednecks. Those ones out there, they're from the sticks. Now that's rednecks. Like, oh okay. I didn't know it got even worse. We ain't from the sticks, you stupid.
Oh, bro, it gets the more isolated a redneck, the worse it gets.
Yeah, it's like, so are you like a redneck? Like, are you a redneck Mexican? I'm like, God, not really. I'm more of an uppity one, but whatever. I hang out with Ben.
My pinky up.
I hang out with Ben Garrett, Benjamin, who watches A24 movies, so I can't be considered.
I'm just a I'm a fancy redneck. All right, so you really haven't gotten too far, CJ. You just moved.
Adjacent to the neighborhood. You
Yeah.
moved into
If
your
anything, it's
neighborhood.
not an up move, just kind of like a sideways move.
It's kind of like
Uh,
it's a sideways. It's a lateral. No, it's kind of like when my back in my
oh,
hometown.
is that what it's called now? I heard that before. I thought that was talking about construction ladders.
No, so so like my when like there's a neighborhood and they do this too like in Houston a lot in the zoning. Well, you'll have like half the side like mansions and the other had trailer park. This is basically like because the Hispanics in this neighborhood or this part will be Hispanic, played by my half, and you'll be in the trailer park, played by yours. And there's a reason why I hung out the trailer parks because they're right across the street. It's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it was fun. And then like when those dudes with the brothers come over to my house, like they're like the girls like oh like all these like brothers are hanging out, and they'd be like, oh man, this guy got a bunch of cool shit he has over here, and he has alcohol. We could drink. And it was like that was always like funny. I was like, yeah, you guys want to drink? I guess go for it. What other wars were there? So we've talked about the Korean, the cold. Where does it start getting more? I put I put Desert Storm, but it said Gulf War is what it called that. And then I guess Iraq, right? With the war of Iraq.
Yeah. I mean, we were in the Gulf War. You said it ended in when?
91.
When did 91?
Oh my God, this is horrible already. One of the first, I'm gonna show you one of the images right away. Like, oh, this is from March 20th, 2003 to December 15th, 2011. So check this out. Wait a minute. Where's 9/11? Oh, that's an event. That didn't. So how does that? So how does it even go together? Because I mean, let me
What's
show this
that?
image. Like 9/11. How does that? Because that triggered the Iraq War, didn't it?
Yes. Yes, because we blamed, oh, who was it? It wasn't ISIS. It was before ISIS.
Look at this, man. Just
Who?
like the machine gun with this guy in his face with no shoes
Mhm.
on, all
Yep.
white, and he's like
Oh,
begging for his life.
let's not forget about Guantanamo Bay.
Oh, we've gone down that road. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like it was the depravity is there. I mean, it's wild. And I think that's what's so interesting about World War II is like and then and it just has like first off that nostalgia factor and everybody coming back from the war like, oh, we fought for a good cause, blah, da, 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 and we saved the world from this evil dictator, but they act like it wasn't war.
Yeah.
They act like that terrible, horrible things did not happen, or at least Americans weren't involved in it. When and I mean, just man, no, 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 no. Human beings are wonderful. They can create great things. They can do enormous things, do great things, but they also have the ability to not be human or not or to be able to it's wild how you can dehumanize somebody else just because they have little in common with you
I
or you can't communicate with them, so then they are automatically the other, and
yeah.
they aren't it's very interesting how people can do that. Or if if you view somebody as an enemy, how it's more you can find yourself in the mindset of like, okay, well then just okay, they're not human, they're my enemy.
Yeah, also like you don't do what I did, so you're different. Like even like that conversation what you were just saying right now just reminds me of like from my hometown or something like, oh, you're different, so you're not like me, or like I'm gonna
Yeah.
treat you different. It's just stupid. Like
Mhm.
a lot of like childish just interactions. I just to me it's like why do people still always like revert back to that like security or that like because I'm just thinking about like we have nostalgia and imagine being in the war and your nostalgia is war, or like you're going backwards to like your PTSD. It's like it's gotta be tough,
Mhm.
man. And
Yeah.
then it's like we do have it's like a different generation as well. Like when you have people that are like dad, he was a big man and he didn't say dad didn't really talk to us, and I always it trips me out when I'm talking to a person and they go, well, dad, it's usually a white guy, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, father never let us talk like this, and father, I was like, why are you referring to your dad as, I don't know. Sometimes it's like, yeah, my Jim over here, yeah, it's my dad, Jim. It's like I'm like, all right, cool with that, but when it's like it doesn't bother me. I mean, this trips me out when people are like, father was quiet. We came back from the war and he just wasn't the same, but he was better. I guess it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just
And yeah, I mean, and also to think that it's that's the thing is like the Vietnam War was the first time people, well, not the first time, but it was the first time that it was like people were having to deal with
Bullshit.
going to war and doing things that were depraved, whether they wanted to or not, and then coming back and being told how depraved they were, being told like you're a terrible human being for killing children, you're a baby killer and stuff like that. Whereas whenever World War II come, they were coming back home to parades, to
Yeah.
mass, like, oh my gosh, you thank you so much, like you were in the war, let me buy you a beer, like. And I think that's kind of where Chicky kind of gets his idea, like, they need that hometown feel.
Yeah.
They need that, and he wants to give it to him because he wants to feel like he's doing his part. He sees all the Vietnam protests and he's like, oh, this is a bunch of bullshit.
I was gonna say, what do you think about when you saw those? What do you think? Because we've gone a long way till now. The modern time protesting, like in 2020, was stupid. Like fighting over, like just getting mad at each other, attacking each other. Like, I mean, they want that in the history books, really? You guys want? We were there, man. We were fighting for our rights. You guys are just fighting each other.
So you mean like the protests that we've had
Yeah,
recently?
compare it to the what you see in that movie, and then what we've had like in the past, like whatever freaking rallies they have nowadays. I mean, I live in Austin. We have like rally day every day, so it's just everybody's always on their.
Yeah, it's interesting now because everybody feels like there's no real unification. So you have a bunch of different protests for everything. You have protests for MAGA supporters. You have Black Lives Matter protest, things of that sort. So it's more of everybody feels everyone feels like they are uh, the other. They feel like they have to go and protest, and I would say specifically the MAGA protesters or anything like that. The January 6th thing. I mean, that is just. I feel like they thought they were right, and they felt like they were doing the right thing, but to be that disillusioned,
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I just think it's like now it's called January 6th. Like, oh, that remember January 6th, United States
Yeah,
Capitol
yeah,
attack. Like, come on, man. On January 6th, 2021, following the defeat of U.S. President Donald Trump in 2020 presidential election, a mob of his supporters attacked the United States Capitol building in Washington, D.C.
yeah,
Number of deaths, 5. 5 people died during this shit?
yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is like I think that's what.
Okay, it says 5 deaths on Wikipedia. 5 deaths from attack, 1 from gunshot, 1 from drug overdose, 3 from natural causes. Okay,
Yeah. So like
what?
heart attacks, stuff like that.
So they
Um,
started 4 officer death by suicide with 7 months of the attack. What?
yeah.
4 officer deaths by suicide. Okay, this is getting like messed like. Okay, sorry, it's getting all confusing now. Why does they call it? Well, 5 people died, but it starts saying like overdose.
Yeah.
Are these are all like self deletions? What's going on? Like I don't know. I don't even want to read about this thing. That's just it was
No,
dumb. I just
it's just wild, man, because like, and honestly, it's kind of the first first kind of like sign of democracy kind of well, this democracy at least kind of deteriorating, because you have people that are like, instead of due process, or instead of doing what they think legally, or going the right way about it, they want to storm the building, they want to do all that. And so, I mean, hell, that's, if anything, CJ, it'll
mm.
probably go down in the history books as the start of something,
I'm
if
just
I
saying
had to guess.
it shouldn't be in the history books in my opinion.
It will be
It's
though, but that's, see,
yeah,
that's
I'm
the
saying
thing,
it's
because
one of those
I mean,
things.
but we're living in it, man. That's the
No,
thing.
I
It's
get it.
like
No, I get it. It's just
I know you don't think it should be in the history books, but this is like in World War One. I mean, it's not one thing that triggers World War One.
Yeah,
You
that's what
know,
I'm saying though. But I'm saying like we shouldn't have that shouldn't have happened. Like, why is the White House so easy to break into? You know?
it wasn't. I don't think it was the White House. It
What
was
was
it was the Capitol building.
See, now I don't even know. See, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I shouldn't even have an opinion on this because I just don't get it.
No. You can have an opinion on it. Just
I can't. Well, why am I? If I don't know anything about it, I shouldn't be talking about it. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's fair, but just because you don't know anything about it doesn't mean you don't have to have an opinion about it. I think that you can be
No,
like,
dude,
oh,
that's
I
like
don't.
the worst. That's the worst thing.
I
Dude. You know
think
think about it.
yeah,
Think about the
no,
protesters over here fighting each other on land, and then Chicky's going through this whole thing, and then they're telling him, like that he's wrong, and he just saw what's going on. You're trying to tell him, they're like, no, you're wrong. Still goes back to that time when I was we came to Austin, and I was the only 121 in my group of friends, so I had to go to these house parties at the apartments, and I'd go run into people from the valley, and I was like, man, I don't like talking to people from the valley, kind of aggressive. And then all of a sudden, like, to have a conversation with people, I just said this thing that I heard, like I forgot a comedian. I heard a comedian say this. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that they have the cure for cancer. They're just not giving it to us. And they all had a field. They tried to have a field day with me. And being a natural smartass, I just started what they were saying. I just naturally was just able to say how dumb they were. But the whole group was just like, well, this guy's the guy who thinks that there's a cure for cancer. Ha 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 ha. This guy, there's that guy. He's so stupid. And I was like, Daryl, y'all sound like idiots. And I know why y'all stay down there. But not sure. But it's like,
no.
to me,
Well,
it's like just having an opinion, right? Like, I didn't know that. But to say that, like, I was like, well, I don't know. I've heard that. But the fact that all turned on me just for saying that, it's kind of funny. Like, I'm like, wow, you're serious.
Well, I guess there's maybe that's what I'm trying to get at. There's nothing wrong with having an opinion about it, and even if you aren't educated on it, because if you feel the need to be more educated on it, then you can change your opinion. Opinions don't have to be solidified with what with
No,
what
but
you
that's
just.
that's the problem though, dude. Nowadays, it is, man. People like believe what other people like. It's
They do.
dumb, like what
Yeah.
they do, and that's what I'm saying. That's why, like, if you bring up like, maybe imagine your birthday is January 6th. It's like, well, I can't really celebrate it because they're, it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
if you're
no,
like,
I mean,
oh,
if
why
your
are you
birthday's
celebrating on that?
9/11, it's like,
What?
ooh.
Oh shit, right? That's not. You should wait. Still too soon. I want to celebrate my birthday. I'm finally 48. I just want to celebrate it. Check it out, dude. So I just kind of looked up a lot of things here since we're getting to the end of the show because we talked like this is gonna be easy.
We just talked about war this entire time.
Because there's also because there's the way they're working together. Like, we kind of went down history lane, and I'm gonna just as we're talking about stuff, I was picking it up. Now check this out. I don't know if there's any dot connection, but I will be doing check it out. So I did World War One, so I did the Gulf War. Here we go. So here we go. War in Iraq. The Iraq War was produced. Oh no. Wait, sorry. What's that? The Iraq War was a protracted armed conflict in Iraq from 2003 to 2011. That began with the invasion of Iraq by the United States-led coalition that overthrew the Iraq government of Saddam Hussein. So that was 8 years, And then people were like, why did you join the army? You graduated in 2003. I was like, because I'm not going to get myself shot. I went to college. We said Guantanamo Bay. Guantanamo Bay is a bay in Guantanamo province at the southeastern end of Cuba. It is the largest harbor on the south side of the island and is surrounded by steep hills, which creates an enclave that is cut off from its intermediate hinterland. So it's a prison, right?
Yep. Well,
okay,
you know what Cuba was as well, right?
A giant.
Communist.
Well, check this out. When I did that, I thought of Bay of Pigs.
Yep.
What is the Bay of Pigs? Actually, I've always heard about it. Okay, it's the Bay of Pigs, April 17th, 1961, April 30th, 1961. So it's 3 days long, whatever this thing is. The Bay of Pigs invasion was a failed military landing operation on the southwestern coast of Cuba in 1961 by Cuban exiles, covertly financed and directed by the United States. It was aimed to overthrow Fidel Castro's communist government. So what were they doing?
They were trying to take down Castro.
How?
From what you said, it was Cuban exiles.
So they're trying to kill him?
So what they probably did was they probably sent people that were exiled from Cuba or got away from Cuba, and they armed them and said, "Hey, go take Cuba back."
That's what that is.
And that's exactly that's what we did in Iran. That's what we did in Afghanistan. I mean, we do it all over the globe. We give people the weapons to fight their wars, and then get mad when they actually use them,
Well,
and they're like, "Oh, hey, we got weapons now. We can start taking you on too."
these
Like,
aren't sports teams, man. These aren't like I like that guy.
no, it
I don't
is.
like like.
That's the thing. Is it is like we back, like, look at Ukraine and Russia right now. We're
Well,
backing them.
I didn't even put that in. Hold
Yeah.
on. Let me you.
And I have little to no knowledge of what's going on right now.
Dude, that's
Because
crazy.
and
That's in
that's
modern times.
I
And
know, but see, that's the thing, is like, and this may have just been over the years, but look at all the misinformation that's out there. Or what can you trust anymore? And what could you trust back then?
well, you know what? I have another thing we can look up, and maybe we can find something because this is a relic from the past. Boston Tea Party, December
Mhm.
16th, 1773. The Boston Tea Party was an American political and mercantile. I'm sorry,
Merkin,
it says
mercantile.
mercantile protest by the Sons of Liberty in Boston, Massachusetts. So, what is the Boston Tea Party?
It's a terrorist attack.
It was.
So the Boston Tea Party was taxation without representation. That's what that's going with. So it was 1773.
Yeah. So,
So
what does that mean?
this was 3 years
So,
taxation without representation. So I think it was
what,
King George was over in England, right? And the 13 colonies were still under English rule. So what they did is, so they would tax. They had a tea tax. They had taxes on everything. They had tariffs on
oh,
everything.
even they were sending money back. They're making them send money back to them, or what?
Well, yeah. So, well, no, it was almost like a import export kind of thing
Oh, okay.
for the tea, right? And but so the reason that the Boston Tea Party happened is because you have the 13 colonies all the way over here in the Americas, right? And then you have Parliament in England, right? And so there was no representation for the colonies in England. So therefore, why do we have to pay taxes to you,
Yeah.
if we have no say in what goes on?
Yeah.
So this is like, we're far enough away. Why do we have to listen to what you're saying? Why do we have to pay extra, or
Yeah.
have all
Okay.
these extra taxes? Because like, we have nothing in there. Actually, I heard, just kind of a little offshoot on this. Somebody the other day, I think it was on TikTok, said, 16, 17-year-olds that are working shouldn't have to pay taxes because they can't vote. And I completely agree with that.
Oh,
They
dude.
have
Yeah,
no
you're right.
representation.
Dude, when you were talking about what do you call it, TikTok earlier, where you can learn from, you're right, dude. I saw something like that. And I was like, God, I've been working since I was 12.
Yeah.
So-
Well, and it's wild too. Like, and that never even crossed my mind, but I think that should go into law. That's
yeah. Shit.
absolutely what we are, what this country was founded off of. And we heard it in Dazed and Confused, whenever they're because that was made in or that was set in 1976. So whenever their history teachers, they're running out the door, is like, or she's like, whenever you're being inundated with all this independence, like patriotic brouhaha, remember, it was just a bunch of white aristocratic males that didn't want to pay their taxes. And what do we got right now, CJ? We've come full circle, my friend.
Dude, that's George Carlin, man. He broke that for me when he said, "What do we want? Wait, there's a bunch of mediocre white guys want their golf course." Like,
Yeah.
that's all they want their comfort. I was like, oh my God, that's hilarious, Carlin.
But I mean, hell, dude, it's crazy. And you know what's wild is, like, there's probably so much more war that we could learn from, and take from, but any wars before World War I, pretty much, I mean, those are the big ones. And I think it's because we're closer to them. I think because you have, like, obviously, like the Spanish American War and stuff like that. There's stuff that was going on here, Teddy Roosevelt, the Rough Riders, stuff like that. But and then
Rough
you have,
Riders.
yeah, and then you obviously have Manifest Destiny going on here. Like, America has been it's been nonstop war since 1776. It's
Yeah, I
been
remember the Rough
fighting.
Riders. So yeah, I know, and it's just something. It's in our DNA. But even like that,
Mhm.
I'm looking at Boston Tea Party in 1773, right? Check this
Mhm.
out. That means that finance has always been issued. Like finance. So even like back in the day when we had coconuts, he who has all coconuts has all the women, has all the power. And I think that's just how our minds are. It's just anything
Right.
that we have, we give it position. Because even like when somebody like read a lot about on finance, even though I'm not the best at financing, but I'm learning. But like I was talking about how like just learning anything finance, it really, how was I going with this? Basically, like once you learn that, and they don't teach us that in high school, once you'll be fine. And that's just like a thing, like the, I guess, matrix, so to speak, is how like it's like just formulaic, like do this, and it doesn't work like that. We're kids, or I was always told, hey, do this, it gets there, and then I'm there, and I'm like, I don't want to do this shit. It's like, but let's keep
Yeah.
going. Look, check it out. I got a few more things here. I looked up prohibition. Prohibition was for 13 years. Wow. 19 January 17th, 1920 through December 5th, 1933. God, that was they were doing prohibition
During the
during
Great Depression,
depression, dude.
like
And
you couldn't even get drunk to
dude,
drown your sorrows. Could you imagine if we didn't have prohibition, dude?
in the United
Like
States,
honestly, like
dude, that's like pandemic without the alcohol. And the United States from 1920 to 1933, nationwide constitutional law prohibited the production, importation, transportation, and sales of alcoholic beverages. That's 13 years. Like, who's in charge? Who's making these rules? Who's telling?
the Federal Reserve, my friend.
That's
That's
the
who's
money,
making the
right?
rules.
That's the
Yeah,
money.
yeah. That's the money. That's the federal bank.
Federal bank. All right, that's just
We,
that.
Andrew Jackson fought desperately to make sure that the federal bank did not come about, and it eventually did. I think in like the early, is either the late 19th, early 20th century. We finally have the federal bank, and that's essentially what we've been staying away from since we got our independence.
So yeah, and that's what cryptos is now, huh? So they're trying to bring
Yeah,
it back.
well, and it's the next form. It's trying to be the next form of
Yeah,
but it's that's the great thing about finance, CJ, right? It's all an illusion.
it is, and that's also. I mean, that's what I meant to say. When I was learning finance, somebody gave me $1, and he goes, "Jesus, see what it says right here? This is a tender. Like it's not real."
Yeah.
I was like, "What do you mean? Like we pretending that this is real?" And
Bro,
I was like, well,
there's a song by oh gosh, I can't remember what it is. Something the Baptist. Um anyway, it's the name of the song is like Creflo Almighty Dollar, and
what's it called? What?
Creflo Almighty Dollar. You've heard of Creflo Dollar, right? He's like a pastor.
No.
Crefo Dollar.
No, I'm looking up real
But
quick.
anyway, he has a line in his songs like, "What's the difference between a dollar and $100? It's just what it's nothing. It's just paper. It's just what we put into it. You know, that's the stock that we put into it.
That's when I'm like, what's the difference between a superhero and a supervillain?
It's just a little bit extra. Oh shit! No, wrong time.
You brought it back. Wrong time. Wrong time. Shit, wrong time.
No, it's so funny. The other day at work, I was just talking with the CEO, and I said that I was like, you know what the difference between extraordinary and ordinary is? He's like, it's like a little bit extra.
You're using it in real life. Oh god. No, it's motive. The difference between superhero, supervillain, motive. They usually have the same powers. They think they're strong, they're powerful, but it's what one wants to do with it. So now look at this. As we're doing
Yeah.
this, I'm looking at this, and I put, when was marijuana legalized? California was the first state to legalize medical marijuana in 1996. Since then, the medical use of cannabis has been legalized in 40 states and the District of Columbia. And why is that even called the District of Columbia? The
So
recreational.
they don't have to pay taxes, bro.
Really? Is that what? All
Probably.
right. Let's find-
That's my. I'm pretty sure.
All right, let me finish. It says the recreational and adult use of cannabis has been approved in DC and 22 states. Wow. So we're moving on that. I just put that in just because I wanted to go to here. The DARE program. DARE. Drug Abuse Resistance Education, or DARE, DARE, is an education program that seeks to prevent use of controlled drugs, memberships in gangs, and violent behavior. I want to tell you something, Ben. It says, I want to tell you something about Dare. I didn't know about drugs and alcohol until Dare was telling me what it is. So they educated me on that.
Well, let me tell you something about Dare. Dare came about because another three-lettered organization decided to put crack cocaine in the inner cities, and
Does it start
then
with a
for
C and
for
end with an A?
yeah, and for fear of little white children getting a hold of this stuff, then you have to have dare. All right, then you have to have education because educated people on drugs are better than uneducated people on drugs. CJ, whether you like it or not, you know, it's I mean,
It's
being real. Because dare worked on me for a good chunk of my life. I mean, did you partake at a young age?
I 21 is I'll say is when I started doing drugs.
Yeah. So
So I
but
don't know if
even
that's
then,
is that young? Is that considered young? 'Cause I,
uh, no. I would say that's probably on the older end. I mean, I'm talking like
yeah,
13,
because I
14
know
years
stories of like
old.
people that are like I was 8 years old smoking a cigarette or stuff like
Yeah.
that, and then drinking. I've had beers at like 4. But I mean, I started drinking. Okay, put it this way: if you're calling alcohol a drug, because it is,
Well,
I
no,
started drinking at 15. So because I
we'll
go over to
say
Mexico,
hard drugs like cocaine, crack cocaine,
party powders and stuff.
powder, or
I'll,
something that like.
so
Sorry,
I'll say
continue.
this. So probably because I remember it was October 20. It was October when I was 21, because I already had got my heart broken, in I think June or May or June. But I was just really depressed, and I was with some friends, and they were like, "Hey, we got some coke. You want to get on this?" I was like, "Sure." No one cares about me. Why should I care? So
Yeah.
then I just started doing that, and then I just got this high, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And then it just kind of like got me addicted on it, right? So I ended up being addicted from 21 to 26. But I was trying to cut off. I was trying to cut off myself at 24. So I went hard from 21 and a half to like 22, 23, 24. And then 25, I had a conscious effort to be like, all right, let me get out of this shit. And then
Yeah.
by the time I was 26, I stopped. I didn't like. I was like, by the time I remember being 26, turning 26 years old, and being like, I haven't done coke from since now to 26 till I'm not gonna do it again. And I'm 39. I've gone 13 years. I didn't realize how long I've gone, especially when I
Well,
go back home and people are
congratulations, by the way.
I
Good
know,
job.
kind of like I don't really like. I don't know. I don't feel it as like because what it honestly
No,
been. I'm
it
cheating.
it is. It
Well, let me
is.
say this
And
because
whether, oh,
it
sorry.
stopped work. It stopped working. I stopped getting the body high, so I had to quit. So it's like, really, did I really? Is it really congratulations, or it's like, hey, this shit just got shittier for you, and you're like, nah, I'm done. Like
Oh,
it
no,
was.
no, no. I think the reason behind it doesn't really matter. I think the stay behind it is what matters.
Oh,
Just
thank you.
just
Okay,
because
I get what you're saying.
it was a selfish kind of thing. I mean, to be honest, I mean, because if you're not getting the body out, you're like, oh well, there's no reason to do it. Selfish may not be the best word,
Yeah, I think
but
you think I know what you're saying though. I get where you're coming
but
from.
but that's the kind of the context. But yeah, I think that but you even said before you were actively trying to get out of it.
Yeah, dude,
So
it was
that I
hard,
think I
man.
think that in itself deserves to be commended because there's people that just they can't get out of it. They
Yeah,
they don't
nah.
have that mental uh,
And
strength.
I'll tell you this: being alcohol, I'll still have a little slip ups here and there where I'll get a little drunk and just get loose in the lips and just start talking out of my ass or just having fun with conversation. But
Mhm.
I'm doing it on like having fun and play banter and but alcohol is something like I like where I'm at with that because I used to abuse that way more than and once I got off the
Same.
drugs, then it was just alcohol and I was like, how the fuck do I get off this? How do
Yeah.
you quit? How do you get? And it's
You
just
smoke, that's how. And
yeah
then you slowly get off of that. I mean, if anybody's saying that marijuana is a gateway drug, it's a gateway to stop addiction.
yes you're right dude you're preaching to the choir dude that's you're right
Be-
dude you're absolutely
because
right.
I mean, I used to abuse alcohol as well. I mean, and I have a history, the family history of alcoholism for sure, 100%. And I think that's kind of the great thing about weed is like you you can crave it, you can want it, and I do think that you can be addicted to the high, but you aren't
Yeah,
addicted to the substance, you
yeah,
know?
exactly. That's the truth. I'll tell you one thing I have to cut down, like I said, off camera, but I'll say it now. A lot of it is kind of like it has an addictive person, like for being to have a person with addictive personality, marijuana is addicting, But I'll tell you this: what is addicting for me? It's not just like the body high or whatever. It's like it helps me like I memorize a lot of things. I'm constantly seeing things, and I'm always getting approached by different people, or people are just coming up to me like sharing stuff with me. Like people open up to me so much, and I'm like, I don't need to hear that. And it's just like the marijuana like it helps you like forget. So now that I'm cutting back a lot, I'm like, okay, I got to watch out who I'm exposing myself to. Because if I'm around toxic people or negative, like I get annoyed and I'm like, just shut up. Why are you like this? So it helps me block out. But what I'm doing is I don't want to pause my life. So I'm learning that like, okay, there's a time and a place. Learn to use it to relax, but not use it to abuse it. Just learn to like, you got to be present still. So I'm also like going up against people that that annoy me. That are my family members that I'm learning to like, just learn to like, all right, I don't have to be high around you. Like, just learn to tolerate you. And it's like, it's just weird. Like, I'm like, why am I going back to this? I don't know. Maybe because I feel like I'm part of this and I don't want to be left out, or I don't know what's going on. But I always end up going back to where like that abuse was at, that bullshit at. But at this time, I'm learning how to do it where I don't have to be drunk, where I don't have to be, where if I have an alcohol drink, it's because I'm enjoying it. That was always my goal, was I can go out and have a drink and be able to, because that was the hard part, man. I'd have one and then it'd be 100. And I was like, I can figure this out. White Claw, honestly, White Claw's a cheat code. Because I'm going to have like 6 of those and I'm still sober, but I have a little buzz, you know? But then I get the tequila. Like, tequila's my enemy. I got to stay away from that. Like, I just, I like love tequila, dude. I can't, like, it's like, that's the bad one. So I got to learn to, like, not do that one. Because that one gets me shit face. And I don't want to do that. I don't like doing that. That's when it happens by accident. Like, I like having, like last weekend, I had a happy drunk. Last night, I had a little happy buzz. But I've been doing a lot of manual work. And also, I'm injured right now. So it's just like my body, I'm just like getting, like, it's just like there's something about just alcohol. And when you're stressing out, it just kind of helps out a little bit for some reason. Or it makes me think that. It makes me feel like that. It makes me feel like just that you shake it off. Because waiting tables, I didn't understand what waiters are like drug addicts. They're freaking people working in restaurants are like, they're freaking, not all waiters are drug addicts. Maybe what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of addictions at restaurants, but like drinking is one of them. So I've seen people like that were sober working at a restaurant for a whole year, and all of a sudden the BS got to them, and they just started drinking on the before or after, and they were more relaxed. And I was like, see, it kind of does that, but I don't want to be like that. And that's what I said when I waited tables for 9 years, and I loved it, but I got too long in the tooth because I was it's like where you start doing things, you're like, I'm just gonna stay at work all day because I'm gonna have to be in the morning anyways. Might as well drink at work or something, or go out to the bar that's next door and then come right back. Like, it's like, I don't know, dude. It gets stupid. So I just learned to get away with it. I don't like working around alcohol. But also too, I don't like that's a party for me. If I bartend, it was hard because like people try to buy you a drink or something. And I'm like, well, if I'm drinking, I want to party. I don't want to freaking work. I still got to clean, But let's round this out. Check this out. So I put in Ukraine war. It says on 24. I don't know why they do this. On 24 February 2022, Russia invaded and occupied parts of Ukraine in a major escalation of the USSR-Ukraine war, which had begun in 2014. The invasion has resulted in tens of thousands of deaths on both sides and instigated Europe's largest refugee crisis since World War II. So this is like, we're talking about you're in your apartment and you get shot kind of shit by a cannon. So we mentioned Dazed and Confused earlier, right? Because it was kind of around that time.
Right, yeah.
So I looked up Dazed and Confused because it's like, it does have, but I didn't get the right, I looked at the wrong thing. But basically this movie's about let's see.
What's Dazed and Confused about?
Yeah, like, I mean, what was it? It was the war was going on, right? But you didn't feel it. Like, it was
it was 76. So this was right after Vietnam.
Okay. So it ended already.
Yeah.
So this is showing the now these are the laid back.
If anything, you probably had like Iran was your next big bad after Vietnam. You had the Contra and everything like that.
That's another thing I didn't even look up. Portrays a real version. It says with Dazed and Confused, Linklater portrays a real version of what the high school experience is like. It is no way done up or glamorized in any which way. It is simply just what it is, and it's never tries too hard to be anything else. So this is like right when the war ends, and this is what we're going into, this kind of lifestyle right here. So this is kind of like when the rock and roll era kind of started kicking in, right? So that's,
yeah. I mean, late 60s, early 70s, or
pop culture.
Late 60s, yeah.
So you also brought up Spanish-American War. The Spanish-American War began in the aftermath of the internal explosion of USS Maine in Havana Harbor in Cuba, leading to United States intervention in the Cuba War of Independence. This war was April 21st, 1898 to December 10th, 1898. So this was only a few months, like, what was that, 5 months, something like that? Or no, before it. No, it was like 8 months. But I mean, that's another, like, there's just constant war. And then you said the Rough Riders. And I had Teddy Roosevelt. And what did Teddy Roosevelt do in the Rough Riders? The most famous of all the units fighting in Cuba, the Rough Riders, was the name given to the first U.S. volunteer cavalry under the leadership Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt resigned his position as Assistant Secretary of the Navy in May 1898 to join the volunteer cavalry. Teddy Roosevelt was like, "We're gonna fight, and I'm gonna fight."
Yeah.
Like, what's his name?
He was carrying that big stick.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what Ernest Hemingway style.
Yeah,
it says here.
Fun fact, man. What Teddy Roosevelt's riding a horse in the Mexican American War, and then you have tanks in World War II. Fighter jets in World War One. You have tanks, and then you have airplanes, stuff like that for World War II, like military.
Yeah.
And so that's
we're progressing in war is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, well, and that's how technology, and like you have innovation in technology through war because you're trying to beat somebody else, which is wild to me because like in chaos we thrive apparently.
Well, because our backs against the wall supposedly, and we're just got to go do it.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, that's what keeps churning out new innovation is war. Like, oh, let's fix this problem. Let's fix this problem. What would happen? I mean, not that I'm over here like saying, hey, we need to keep war going, everybody, but like, what would happen if we didn't have?
Well, we have to, you have to have some kind of defense because then when it does show up, you're not ready. I get that. But it's also like, don't start nothing, there won't be nothing. It seems like the U.S. is always starting beef, and then we have to pick up the tab, like the American people. Not it's like a global thing. Like you have too much money, too much power, and you're bored. Like that's messed up. I put Andrew Jackson Federal Reserve on the Google search. It says Andrew Jackson Federal Reserve on September 10th, 1833. Jackson removed all federal funds from the Second Bank of the United States, redistributing them to various state banks, which were popularly known as pet banks. In addition, he announced that deposits to the banks would not be accepted after October 1st. So why didn't he support it? They would be in charge. They would be in control.
Yeah. So essentially he was wanting, it was more like you have the states' rights versus federal rights and everything like that. So if you're putting money into a federal bank, then it's going to be harder to distribute it to everyone. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to if you just have like a state bank, then you can distribute that to the people a lot more efficiently, I feel like, or you would have more vested interest to keep your people happy in that territory, especially back then, if you didn't have control from afar. You know what I'm saying? And that's essentially what we broke away from, control from afar.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, we ended up getting back. We have the Federal Reserve now, who runs the IRS, the taxations, and everything like that. And they're the ones that control the money. They make sure that and they're the ones that do the notes. They're the ones that say, hey, yeah, you can print more money. That's fine. We don't have anything to back it, but more. But that's the thing is like once we got to a point where, and because we got off the gold standard, I think back whenever Nixon was president, something like that.
Damn. So you could still take the gold, they were still doing that.
Well, so it was just like that's what was we had enough gold in our treasury to support the amount of money we had physically. So we like it matched up. So the worth of this gold and this paper are the same, So
and that's what I'm talking about. Crypto. It's like this is how they did it back then, from gold to cash. Initially defined under a bimtalic standard in terms of a fixed quantity of silver or gold, it formally adopted the gold standard in 1900 and finally eliminated all links to gold in 1971. So it took a long time for them to really break it off. So crypto, they're trying to. So if you're investing in crypto now, in 71 years, you'll be able to cash in.
Well, and I mean, essentially, like I said, they're the reason we could have gotten off the gold standard is because everybody had faith in the economy. You know,
That's a good point.
if you have faith in something, if you have faith that this can buy bread, you know, then you're going to continue to use it to buy bread, whether it's backed by anything or not.
Yeah.
Because that, you know, and that's another thing too, is like, uh, there, you know, the dollar across the world is used. You know, that's how we're able to like we're the standard. That's how we were able to get off the gold standards, because we became the standard. Gold was no longer the standard we were. The dollar
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And so and that's what's kind of a tidbit frightening now, is it's slowly not becoming the standard. And yeah, we'll see. We're living the history right now, CJ.
Yeah, dude, I know. So I guess I just wanted to talk about two more things for the movies, and then we'll get ready to rate them because it's already
Yeah.
hit at time. But I
Yeah.
mean, I was thinking, I mean, this is a great little history lesson that we're going through, and
Yeah.
all. We could, there's a whole part of cinema and all this too. This is crazy.
Sponsor us, Wikipedia.
They're gonna edit. You could self edit. But I'll say, what did you think about Russell Crowe and The Greatest Beer Run Ever?
Loved him. Thought it was a nice little part. It's funny that they have him on here as Zac Efron and Russell Crowe. He was in there for what, probably a grand total of 15 minutes.
Yeah, but but Bill Murray doesn't. I wasn't no trace of Bill Murray in this, and then also, yeah, I think he's just the only other big name because there's no big names in this movie.
No, I mean, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't think there are. There's not a whole lot of weight behind this movie, but I think that's what makes it good. Is like it's you know, you don't need a whole lot. You need two big names, and everything else will follow. You know,
Yeah.
and I really. What did it here? We'll before we get into the ratings and everything, I always try to ask you, what did you think about these movies?
God, too, they're amazing.
Yeah,
they're both good. Like I was like, oh crap, these like, and you said earlier, like they have a lot of comment. They're like, these things are right back. Like I literally saw these, and I'm on this episode, other than the video not uploading properly, but you know, I'm trying to take this show a little bit more serious. So I was getting everything ready, put a schedule for myself, and one of the schedules I had was in the morning. And it was going to be an hour before work, an hour after work. And God, I didn't want to go to work because I was like, I just want to finish The Greatest Beer Run Ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to watch it. And then with Tetris, I kind of knew that was going to happen, so I did leave a block there. So I watched it through in the morning. I watched it like from like 4 to 6 in the morning, and I was by myself just watching it. And I was just like in it, and I was like, this reminds me of, like if Adam McKay would have told this story, it would have been The Big Bang or The Big Short. Yeah. And also it reminded me of oh God, I just forgot the other movie. It reminded me of the Founder with Michael Keaton. Mm-hmm. So like that movie is just pure acting, and this is what I feel about Tetris was a good acting, but it's also the main character, Hank. He's not a bad guy, but you see what he's going through and all the shit he has to put up with, and it's just he's not like overpowering superhero kind of. He's just a regular guy, which I like about it. He's just he was just doing the right thing, and he just made sure he didn't back down.
He was trying to go through the right circles and do everything by the book, and then he realized he was playing with people that weren't playing by the book.
Yeah, they're not. But even like that, but he never caught on to be like he was just kind of like, okay, this is how it is. I'm gonna have to do this then.
Well, and another thing too is like he had the reason he was in the dark so much is because the KGB kept him in the dark. He didn't know what he didn't know what was going on because he didn't have the information. He kept trying. Be like, just let me see the contract. Let me see the contract. He said that numerous times in the first meeting, and they just refused because that's not their policy. But I do enjoy like it really kind of humanizes the Russians just in general, because you have that government official. He's like, no, this is good for the country. Like that's where people get lost. You know, like they it's almost like that Darth Vader Anakin moment where you see this government official is like, no, like this is what is good for the government. This is millions of dollars. Yeah. Like I'm not looking to short the government. I don't understand why are you
trying to do his job too as well.
He's trying to do his job, and he's trying to do what's best for his people. You know, and you just have that moment of like humanity breakthrough of like, no, I'm going to do what's right instead of what I'm told. And that's essentially what how the KGB crumbled is a mixture of corruption and people not willing to take corruption anymore. So
Yeah, the I mean that like I'm putting here, I put the 10 years 1917 to 1927 saw a radical transformation of the Russian Empire into a socialist state. The Soviet Union, the Soviet Russia covers 1970 to 1922, and the Soviet Union covered the years 1922 to 1991. Dude, that what sucks. You could have literally been born in 1922 and then gone all the way to 1991, basically been 70 years old and never lived outside, like never know that, this is like, this is crazy, dude. Like, but it's like even that guy, like for the government's right. It's like the church, do it for the church or whatever. Like, it's just great. But also like, this just reminds me of like corporate companies, man. They'll get whatever they can out of you. And then when they're done with you, they can't have no more use for you. It's gone. That's why I always I hated working with corporate companies, man, because I couldn't be myself. And also like where you go meet somebody, it took me forever to understand this move they were doing. I was like, why the hell does this keep happening to me? And we'll hang out. I'm hanging out with like a supervisor or something, and like I make fun of them, or they think they're the funny person, or they think they're the cool person. I don't know. I end up like doing something like conversation with them in front of people, and then the next day I'll get hey, so you did this, or you're fired, or hey, you're now reassigned to this. I was like, what? Like, and I was like, how did this happen? And it's because they take shit personal, and they come back home, and they ran in it. And then they're like, people like to have power like that. That's not power. That's not power. I can do something behind your back and you won't even know. I got cousins that are like that, and they're like the worst ones in my family. Like, they think like that, and I'm like, they're like the worst ones. And I'm just like, dude, like trying to hide behind a computer screen or a phone screen and just saying like, I have this much power. I just say this and people do things. That's stupid. That's like the dumbest kind of mentality you could ever have. But that's how it is. And I feel like that's what communism's about. But I don't know anything, so we'll see.
Yeah. Now, communism, and I don't know, man. There's you have to balance. There has to be a balance, because capitalist democracy is, I wouldn't even say I don't know. It has lasted the longest.
Yeah.
Thus far, aside from monarchy, which has been going on we still have kings.
Yeah, monarchies
and and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's democracy mixed with, I think it's a mixture. I think you need a mixture of these political ideologies to actually have a society that works in unison, that works for the majority and not the minority. I don't know. We'll find out.
I get what you're saying, and I think I'm just like, dude, we're going Ready Player One all of a sudden. Like, I don't think we're gonna be that broke, like we're living in trailers, but we're getting close to that. Ready Player One.
Yeah.
All right, so let's seal this history episode, which is by the way, dude, this has been great, and thank you for knowing all this. I used to know a bunch of stuff, and I just kind of.
It's probably all horseshit.
Well, no, I was checking you. Everything you were bringing up, I was looking up afterwards. I was like, hell yeah. I was like, kind of have to fact, nowadays you have to fact check yourself, because that's what the people want you to do on their own, because they don't want to do it. But I don't know why you need to be fact checked. Like, it's all made up. This little box is created by us, like our imagination. So you know what I mean? Like, why would you think this is real? We're talking about real events, but they happened in the past. We're not denying them.
I think one of my favorite quotes from Marvel, and this is funny. It's like, you just say made up words. He's like, all words are made up. It's just like, shit, not wrong. Like, yeah,
true. I think also the fact that I've learned how to communicate different. I just like learning about things and people and how they are, and by picking up like posture, mannerisms, stuff like that. It's just like, not to judge them or anything, but just to be like, I get it, man. That guy's upset because he's in a crutch and he doesn't want to be in a crutch, or his person's in a bad relationship, doesn't want to be. I get it, man. But we all gotta just kind of figure it out. But I'm gonna rate them. I'm gonna rate them right now. I'm just gonna go through it. 13.
Gonna give
13.
All right. I'm gonna be a little bit harsher, but not too much. I'm gonna give greatest beer run ever. It's getting a 12. Okay, Tetris. I'm gonna give it an 11. Okay. Do they hit all the way for 13 to me? Just not quite.
I think you're right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed these movies. They were new, they were interesting, they were historical, and I enjoy all those aspects. Would I recommend these movies to people? Yes, and that's why they get that little extra oomph, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They didn't have like that. What? Whoa! I just watched that. Like Tetris was there. Tetris was almost there, but it just wasn't like this. This is a, I don't know.
Damn,
13s sometimes
you're right. You're right.
are like life changing movies for me. You know, like a different perspective on life kind of movie. That's what 13s are going to be doing for me. But I would definitely 100% recommend watching these movies. I think they are fun movies with, they have action, they have drama, they have comedy, and it's just that conglomerate of all of those genres mixed together. Not to mention the addition of real life, which makes it even kind of cooler. You know, it's like, oh, somebody went and did this. You know, like this is how Tetris got to be a global. You know, it was sold with every Game Boy. You know, like that's cool. You know, like you see the Game Boy, like, oh man, I played on one of those. You know, like it's I think that may be why you had a little 13 in there, because it hit you with the nostalgia.
I was gonna say that.
Seen it.
I was gonna say the nostalgia is definitely gonna be. So I would say, because when my first scores were 11 and 12, and after talking about you going through this whole thing, these are 13. But you're right. 13's got to be that special. So I'll retract my scores too. And like you're right, because but the thing about Greatest Beer Run Ever, it's more about the characters and the story opposed to the war. It's a war movie, and you get it, but you don't really. It's not like, it is not like Saving Private Ryan. It's not like Black Hawk Down. It's not like Thin Red Line. It's not like all those war movies that came out in 2000 that were like hardcore, you know, showing freaking body parts and stuff. You know, even like
this is like Good Morning Vietnam. You know, like
yes. So this is back to that, and then where Tetris, I think, is totally nostalgia and it's totally nerding me out, because I was like, hell yeah. So maybe you're right. Tetris wouldn't be something I would totally recommend to my nerd friends, but also I tell everybody, go watch Super Mario Brothers, then watch Tetris, you know, because I think I love Super Mario Brothers, so that's just where I'm at with that. But so we'll say my first attempt was a 13, but now it's definitely an 11 and 12. I'm taking like the good old CIA, just taking after Ben. So that is in the books.
All right, so what you got on IMDb over there?
Are we staying close to? Oh wait, let me check the scores. Yeah, we got to do the scores. All right, The Greatest Beer Run Ever has a 6.8 out of 10, so it's not too bad. Under 70. What you got? All right,
it's on the Rotten Tomatoes. We have a 43% on the tomato meter of 118 reviews. But the audience score is going to be a 91%.
Bang, bang.
It says fewer than 50 verified ratings. I think this movie was one that kind of got under the radar just a little bit. But I think once... so Zac Efron is going to be in a A24 feature about a wrestling family. So it may be something... I can't remember who or what they're going to be doing. Let me see. You have IMDb pulled up. Can you see what he has coming up?
Zac Efron?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
But let's see here. Critics' consensus on this is far from intoxicating. The Greatest Beer Run Ever reduces its fun fact-based story to a flat, flavorless brew. I think that was just an analogy. Somebody just shit a bunch of analogies and then put them on a paper right there. Audience says, with a great cast and incredible story based on actual events, The Greatest Beer Run Ever is a blue ribbon dramedy. Yeah, I think that's about right. What you got for Zac Efron over there?
Man, the movies that are coming out, it just says the Iron Claw, Ricky's.
That's it. Iron Claw. Yeah.
Post-production. Oh yeah, here we go. Follows the story of the Van Erichs, a dynasty of wrestlers who made a great impact on the sport from the 1960s to the present day. So you know who the Van Erichs are?
Mm-mm.
The Von Erichs. They're basically backyard wrestlers that helped form the WW, whatever it's called these days, World War, whatever. Whatever. It's okay. I can't believe Peter won that one. Because I remember in high school there was this panda sticker that said WWF, and I kept laughing at it, but it was like PETA or whatever. So they had to change the name from WWF. I don't know. It's just annoying. Like it's whatever, man. They're getting confused with us. Ugh, this is so stupid. Somebody will sit and waste their time, get in line, and wait to find the paperwork. Bureaucrats, man, they lose that life, man.
Bro,
all right,
it's wild.
So we already got the ratings. So the ratings are kind of rough on that one.
Yeah. What about Tetris? What you got over there?
7.4 out of 38,000.
All right. So over here on Rotten Tomatoes, we have an 82% tomato meter and 87% audience score. Let's see what we got on critics' consensus. While it's nowhere near as addictive as or fast-paced as the game, Tetris offers a fun, fizzy account of the story behind the 8-bit classic. Audience says, even if it plays fast and loose with the true story behind the game, Tetris is tons of fun, and Taron Egerton has never been better. So, I have a question for you.
What's up, brother?
Do you think movies like this are better told as based on true stories or as documentaries?
Like this would be like a hybrid kind of thing, huh? This movie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Essentially, this is like a biography
I like this.
So
I like documentaries if they make them like where they're not confusing and it's not all dramatic. Because usually documentaries now are like anybody's trying to make anything a documentary.
And sometimes I feel with documentaries like they're trying to sell you on this idea of like, hey, we're gonna figure out what's going on here, and then at the end you don't really have an answer, and it's almost worse than, it would almost be like you make a documentary about something that's unfinished, and then 20 years later you get a movie like this,
Yeah. I'm thinking I'm gonna go with the depending on the documentary, but I like the movie version better.
Same. I think you're right. I think it just kind of depends on the topic, but out of these two, I think it was better to make. Honestly, I wouldn't mind watching a documentary on how Tetris. They have. Well, I mean, you know what's crazy is like Cocaine Bear. I mean, as soon as I got done watching that, like it started having like the NBC Dateline Cocaine Bear story. So I mean,
so they can talk about so other people can bounce off that, or like and then that's when you get the hate watch and you get the positive reviews. It's like a bunch of things. But where do you want to go with this? Where are we going? Are we staying Apple Plus? Are we going somewhere else? What do you want to do? Because like I said, I've been searching the Apple Plus. I got some pretty good stuff. I'm gonna throw this out there.
Ghosted is new with Chris Evans. And
he's all in now. He's on a lot of the stuff now. He's like one of their poster boys. I noticed on the Apple Plus. Yeah. I was gonna. They have that movie with Adam Driver, 65. I kind of want to watch that one, but we got to buy it or rent it, and I'm kind of like that's the thing, or watch that theater. But that's where I'm kind of at. I'm kind of at in that mindset. But where do you want to go? Where do you want to do?
No, I'm down. I'm down for some 65.
65 it?
Yeah.
65, dude.
65, man. You know what's crazy is like after we talked last week about Tubi and all that stuff. Tubi actually has originals. I was looking at that. But no, I want to go. I think you're on the right track there. Some newer movies that are maybe just about to hit streaming or just have. There was a Woody Harrelson movie I was wanting to see. Just came out on Peacock. Yeah.
I started playing that.
Oh, this would be terrible. We could watch The Ringer in that movie.
That would be a good one too. That would be a good.
I mean, honestly, let's see here. Let's see where The Ringer is, because I saw that and I was like, ooh, that looks like a really good movie. The Champions.
Yeah, it looks well made. There's another movie that's kind of dark like that with Richard Lewis. And I forgot what it's called, but I mean, look, he plays a basketball coach and he shows you all the messed up things of college basketball.
Or we could do what you've been. Sorry, basketball coach doing what?
No. What are you saying? What do you want to do? Or
Peanut Butter Falcon.
Oh, that's well. I mean, 65 is about It's about time travel, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I do like the Champion and the Ringer, but also, if we're gonna do 65, I'd say it's either do fantasy or sci-fi. Stay in that realm.
Okay, so we'll do. Let's see here, 65. Okay. Damn, we gotta rent that still.
And
Yeah, it's like $20 to rent it.
if you want, I mean, we can do other stuff. I mean, because I do like that.
Because I kind of want to see that Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Do you want to watch that one too? Dude, I want to watch that one too. My coworker that's a huge Dungeons and Dragon, what do you call it? Player. He still plays now. He's very he was like, because I'm like, dude, these movies are never good. The game crossovers, and then he said, just watch it. I was like, what? He goes, just watch it. So I could actually take well, this is PG-13, so I don't know if I can take max of that, but I'm down if you want to spend a little money. And we can watch Dungeons and Dragons, and we can watch 65 because they're both out. They're both new. They're both fantasy. One's sci-fi. The other one is mythological. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm kind of cool with that.
Let's do it.
Just pull the trigger.
Let's do 65 and Dungeons and Dragons.
All right, here we are. 65, dude. 65, 2023, PG-13, 1 hour, 33 minutes. Action, adventure, drama. An astronaut crash landed on a mysterious planet only to discover he's not alone. Directors Scott Beck, Brian Woods. Writer Scott Beck, Brian Woods. Stars Adam Driver, Ariana Greenblatt, and Chloe Coleman. And we're going to watch that with, surprise, Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. So this is, are they going to make more? 2023, PG-13, 2 hours, 14 minutes. Action, adventure, comedy. A charming thief and a band of unlikely adventurers embark on an epic quest to retrieve a lost relic, but things go dangerously awry. What's that word? Awry when they run afoul of the wrong people. Directors John Francis Daly, Jonathan Goldstein. Writer
John Francis Daly? Is this his directorial debut?
Let's find out. Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, and Rigue Jean Paye.
You know who John Francis Daly is, right?
Yeah, he's the dude. The
Freaks
goat.
and Geeks.
Yeah, he's the guy that does the goat.
Yeah.
And yeah. Oh, here he is. Yeah, here he is. Cool. Yeah, he's in Bones. Oh, he's directing this movie. Way to go! Look at that.
Is it his first one?
Let's find out. Okay. Directing. He has 8 directing credits.
Okay.
So let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be a good movie. He definitely played Dungeons and Dragons growing up.
Yeah, yeah. It just sucks that I can't, like, the new IMDb, like, I can't tell what, it doesn't divide it anymore. Like, if I hit to see director, it gets rid of her director. So he did a short movie in 2001 called What Babies Do. He did an audio tour short movie director in 2011. Vacation, he directed the movie Vacation 2015.
Okay.
Game Night, he did Game Night. That's a good one. In the Dark, director, and wow, did he do Vacation? I hadn't seen this one. Is this the one with Robin Williams? Or no, it's
with Ed Helms. Yeah.
Oh, so it's John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein. Something's burning in my living room. Let me go see what's going on over there. So he did that one, and then so he did this one again. So he's teaming up again. It's pretty cool, man.
Vacation was not bad. Let's see. If he wrote Vacation, that's Steven. Written by John Hughes. Okay. Because it said he wrote Horrible Bosses. Amazing. He wrote. Oh
wow, we're going down the archive here.
Yeah. Oh, dude, he did Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs too.
He wrote that.
Yep.
He's a writer. Dude, yo, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, maybe I can take a page out of his book.
Yep.
All right. Well, we are here, dude. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Special creature voice. He comes out Dungeons and Dragons as a special. He's in Dude Bro Party Massacre 3 in 2015. What is this about? This is the movies I've been coming out in. Remember, everybody, I'm in Desert Fiends. I have a small, tiny cameo in there, and I'll be in Pancake Man coming out soon. I need to actually reach out to the guys about that. But all right, we're done.
That's where we're going. Done.
We're here in 2 hours. Wow, this is a great episode, and we're leading into something even. A little bit of this next episode's gonna be a little pricey, but it's worth it. It's
worth it. Worth it.
And then I'm gonna just get them all out. All these episodes, just get them all out, and then catch up, do some binging with some side by sides because we're back.
We're back, baby.
Anything else, Ben?
That'll do it. That'll do.
All right. So without further ado, I'm doing the sign off. The intro video is also the extra video. So everybody, thank you for hanging out with Side by Side Movies, and we'll see you at the movies. Peace.
See you.